This is Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon, the podcast.
You know, we're talking about Halloween just, about a week away. And we all know that once you turn that Halloween curve, man, it is fast that all of a sudden it is January 1st. And that is essential when it comes to putting together an end of year plan. And David, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now is the time to be putting that on the calendar, not calling you on December 10th saying, hey, David, help me get ready for January.
Yeah, well, tax planning is pretty critical, especially in the last quarter, because once the year ends on December 31st for this tax year, there's not much you can do to try to mitigate some of your tax bill next year when you file your taxes. So, we're working on a lot of year-end planning, especially dealing with the RMDs, required minimum distributions, have a deadline to get out if you are required to take them this year. And we help people make sure they get them out and show them really what accounts they should draw them from, because you can take RMDs out from one account if they're all IRAs to satisfy that RMD in total, or take them out individually. But that keeps us very busy, especially for the last few months of the year.
Yeah, tax planning is something that's so crucial, and I know taxes has been on the brain for a lot of folks out there. Obviously, a few months ago, Trump passing that big, beautiful bill. What does it mean for your tax future? Taxes is not something that you just have to think about when it comes to, March or April as you're getting everything together and hoping you can find, your statements and whatnot. This is something you should be doing at least a couple times a year to make sure that you're being tax efficient. That is something crucial. We talk about this all the time, David, how not having a tax plan in place could really wreck your retirement. Is that right?
It's one of your biggest erosion factors. It's something that a lot of people aren't getting the help they need to employ and implement strategic plans that are tailored around their own personal circumstances. And we deal with a lot of folks from the federal government when they retire. And when you have a pension like they do in Social Security, and you have a sizable nest egg that you've accumulated on a pre-tax basis, and we show them when we look into the future with what they're doing today, what problems lie ahead. The biggest problem that they are encountering is the fact that they're going to have to take out much more income when they turn their RMD age, which might be 73 for some folks, 75 for others. But that is a growing tax torpedo, because now they need to take income on income they may not need, and many of them don't. And now that's creating a higher tax cost on their other sources of income. Other things go up in price, like their Medicare Part B premiums could go up. So if we can be proactive today and see this now before we get to that age of retirement, we can really strategically implement tax planning and try to mitigate those taxes over their lifetime. And by default, when you're tax efficient with a good tax plan, you're going to build more wealth efficiently, and you're going to have more income opportunities if you want to supplement more of your income and do it tax-free in some of the ways we can structure everything.
Yeah, I mean, being tax efficient, guys, basically is all about keeping more money in your pocket, right? Having more wealth, having more to go towards your retirement versus in Uncle Sam's pocket. And you mentioned these tax-free options as well. Here's the deal. If you are wanting to do this end-of-year checklist, make sure that you got all your ducks in a row to kind of tie up 2025 and prepare for a bigger and better 2026. Not only will we do this end-of-year checklist for you, but we'll also do this tax analysis. Give a call today. That's 203-872-0009. 203-872-0009. You can also get more details on the website at masteringyourwealthradio.com. There's a lot of studies out there that talk about when people hope to retire versus when they actually do. Here's the Wall Street Journal's Ann Tergerson on Morningstar.
And over time, I just started noticing, like, everybody says they want to retire later than they do on average. People want to retire at, say, 65, 66, but they really are retiring more like 63. And often, people speak to these unexpected things that happen, whether it's layoffs, often it's health issues, whether it's their own health or somebody else's health, and they need to provide caregiving. So I think that's just a very, very persistent, common trend over time.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. David, I think the main question is, how do you help us design a retirement plan that it's built for longevity and having the things that we need, but also being flexible enough to kind of handle those surprises in life?
You always have to model things out by looking into the future with what you're doing today and take into account what you think your life expectancy is. And the biggest challenge that people have think about it. The challenge on making your money last for as long as you might last could be stretching your resources out to need to last for 15, 20, 25, 35, or 37 years, like my dad, who's 97. He retired at the age of 60, but he has a pension, and that helps bridge that income need for your lifetime, but not all the income that you might need. So we always look at putting together a strategically designed income distribution plan that looks at three major components to optimize your resources, mitigate risk, and be tax efficient. You want to have a tax strategy so that as you disperse income in the future, you're more tax efficient. You have less taxes you're paying, which means more money you can spend. You have your investments aligned with what your planning identifies to us that you need to create in the form of income for the rest of your life, adjusted for inflation and taxes. And then you want to have your investments not only aligned for income, but also to have features in place to grow, to help offset future inflation, maybe have a backup healthcare strategy and an income replacement strategy when a spouse dies. So you have income planning as part of your three-legged stool, you have tax planning, and you have your investment plan, all integrated together so they work cohesively together to maximize the results and have better predictability that your money's going to last as long as you do. What if somebody dies younger in age as far as a spouse? Because there's going to be some income losses that might occur, because there's going to be one Social Security that goes away, and maybe part of the pension goes away. And we always evaluate the what-if scenarios that a lot of people aren't even thinking about when they're thinking about walking into retirement. So these are things that you want to have in place so that when that happens, because someday it will, you just don't know when, your surviving spouse is well taken care of and you don't have to backpedal and pivot and change things to the degree that the surviving spouse has to make some dramatic changes that may not be very good, whereas they may not be able to live in the home anymore because they can't afford it or spend at the lifestyle spending that will allow them to enjoy their retirement.
Yeah, and talking about this and being proactive is key. And here's the deal, guys. Listen, I know it's stressful to bring up this kind of conversation, talking about your money. I mean, if you think about it, when in a marriage, that's something that it usually ends up in a fight. People fight about money and finances and who's spending what and the budget. So talking about your finances with somebody like David and saying, okay, well, can you make it last for the rest of my life? That can be a little overwhelming and daunting. So that's why I think a lot of people are almost hesitant to come in and sit down with you, because what if the answer is no, you're not prepared, or you haven't done enough, or you can't retire until X, Y, or Z. So it can be a little scary there. Tell me about your process and what makes it easy, what makes it stress-free, and why folks should come and sit down with you.
The biggest reason why people fail to meet their retirement goals is they procrastinate in evaluating and doing a plan, and they navigate through life without the clarity of knowing whether they're making the right decisions for their long-range planning or not. And it's not until they're getting closer to retirement that they're feeling the pressure and the anxiety that I need to figure this out. So they reach out to somebody and they're hoping to get some better clarity as to whether, in fact, they can retire. And that's the key. If you know your numbers and you have a plan, that will help you make the best decisions possible in how to make your financial situation work. And with predictability, you'll find ways to avoid losing money unnecessarily that you're currently losing. These are your wealth transfers and all kinds of different decisions you might be making in the major areas of financial decisions. And, one of them is buying and paying off a home, or funding your retirement, or paying your taxes, or making capital purchases. There's all kinds of areas where people make costly mistakes, and they just don't know they're making them until we point this out. These are the things in your blind spot. So we can find some of these wealth transfers without changing your lifestyle, recover those, and put you in a better situation that it's working for you, not against you. Now we have a financial GPS, I call it. You know where you are today. We know where we need to get you through your lifetime, and this is what you should do with your money and how you should invest it and how you should take it as far as distributions, and have backup strategies that could derail retirements. And I'm seeing it more and more, and that's out-of-pocket health care.
Yeah, healthcare is another one that can really make or break your retirement. And here's the deal. I know we're throwing a lot at you, but if you're listening right now and you don't have a plan that addresses all these issues, right? We're talking about inflation, taxes, having those different income streams, having a plan for healthcare. It is crucial that you come in and sit down with David one-on-one. Today, we're going to offer this complimentary portfolio analysis. And this is, again, where David's going to be able to show you where you are today, where are you trying to go. He's going to highlight different strategies that'll help you protect your retirement income. And we will do a complimentary for you today. It usually has $1,000 value, but today, no cost to you. 203-872-0009. That's 203-872-0009. That website, masteringyourwealthradio.com. You know, we just passed the 96th anniversary of the 1929 stock market crash that helped usher in the Great Depression. CNBC and New York Times financial reporter Andrew Ross Sorkin has come out with a new book, and it's called 1929. He tells 60 Minutes that the market run-up we've seen lately mirrors the overpriced bubble of 1929.
I would argue to you that the economy is being propped up almost artificially by the artificial intelligence boom. There are hundreds of billions of dollars that are being invested today in artificial intelligence. This is either a gold rush or a sugar rush, and we probably won't know for a couple of years which one it is. We will have a crash. I just can't tell you when, and I can't tell you how deep. But I can assure you, unfortunately, I wish I wasn't saying this, we will have a crash.
Yeah, I think we all know what goes up must come down. The market's been sitting at record highs, essentially. And for those that were around for some of the big crashes here, maybe not the 1929 crash, but I do remember my grandparents and my great-grandparents talking about the Great Depression, how they hid money behind bricks and in the refrigerator. And it was crazy, David. You remember hearing these stories?
Oh, yeah. And I was around, obviously, during the financial collapse in '08. And for many folks, they had to sit on their portfolio for 4 to 6 years to see it get back to the level before they lost their values. And with good strategies, especially with the ones that are available today, we can help people avoid those big dips in the market and still capture upside. And when people see a long bull run like we've seen in the market over the last, since 2009, you quietly see a shift in your portfolio becoming more aggressive than intended in many cases because people kind of get complacent. They see their account values going up and they feel good about it. But when we see a big market drop, then the financial pain threshold for people kicks in. And now I get people that will tell me, when I ask them what happened in 2008 with your investments, or in 2022, we had a dip in the market there. And they just say, well, I don't open my investment accounts. I don't want to see them. You don't want to stick your head in the sand. You want to be proactive.
I mean, out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
Right. So if that's the attitude you have, you're in a reactive state of investing, meaning that you're invested probably in a bucket of mutual funds, a cookie cutter model, maybe some ETFs, and you're kind of still always at the mercy of the wave of the market, either up or down. And when we look at proactive money management to get away from that static and passive management, now we can position people to have the good opportunities when the market's positive, benefit from those. But also we can have guardrails on the money with proactive tactical money management and the right product tools and strategies so that you have some downside protection. And the place you want to get to with your investments is consistency of return with a lot less volatility, because you will grow more wealth and have more income along the way. And we're going to use different tools. And these are tools we teach our clients about. We talk about proactive management, but a lot of people don't truly understand it. And so we can show them how it's done. And alternative investments and investments that have downside buffers, meaning that you're not taking the brunt of the full market drop. So you might have a buffer that has a protection factor where you're protected on the first 15% of downside. And then you have the upside opportunities. So when you get creative with investment management and you can create value as an advisor, not only in the investment management, but tax planning and income planning and healthcare planning, a good advisor should create value in all these different areas for the fee that you're going to pay them. But unfortunately, a lot of people are paying a fee to only have somebody focus on a passively managed investment portfolio, and they're suffering in all these areas of planning that we address and we coordinate within a comprehensive plan, because we look at everything. And so the markets right now, people are very vulnerable. They don't even know how vulnerable they are until we do our portfolio analysis. I can show folks what the risk exposure is and just show them a comparison side by side of how proactive management can change that and lower that risk and increase the returns. I just did a portfolio analysis last week where we reduced their investment risk by 69% and increased their yields by 39%.
Wow.
That is a huge improvement. And that's a situation that if somebody was kind of short in their financial needs of creating a sustainable retirement and they wanted to retire, and we can get those results improved, or we've taken a lot less risk, increased their yields and performance, now they can write their ticket to retirement. They're fine. So they're just going to use different tools and strategies and good planning, sound planning that they weren't taking advantage of before. So, Jess, you can see how important this is, right? I mean, there are a lot of people I know that are on the sidelines and they're in this position. They don't really know whether they should be making any changes, and the market's at all-time highs. So there's more to drop likely to be gained in the coming years. And I'm seeing experts on both sides. Some predicting the market could still go up. Some are looking at a total collapse. And if you don't have airbags and guardrails on your money and you're looking at retirement in a few years, and that happens, if we have that collapse, your retirement's probably a pipe dream for a long time until things get better. And you don't want to find yourself in that position.
For more details or to sit down with David for your complimentary financial GPS, visit masteringyourwealthradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor and an affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and First Financial Planners are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BWA, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.
Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone.
David Gagnon and First Financial Planners are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.
Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interests of our clients and to make full disclosure of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A Item 4, for additional information.